Hi, my name's Kai and welcome back to Guild Wars 2. So this is going to be your introduction to basic gameplay combat mechanics in Guild Wars. It's fairly simple, and I'm also going to start off by showing you how to enable Action Cam, because Action Cam is awesome. As you can see here, there's my mouse, and I combined it and I can move around just using my mouse and left click like so, just to attack. There are a couple of other keys, like right clicking allows you to select targets as you normally would. However, of course, you can just do that, and then yeah, I've bound F1, so there we go. Alright, so in the options, if you press escape, go into options, you'll want control, and then scroll halfway down till you get to camera, and then you'll see here toggle action camera. Now I've bound it to delete, and I also have a Corsair scimitar which has the number pad on the side, so I've bound it to one of those keys. Of course, if I don't have that, then I can just revert to using the delete key. But that's it for the action camera. Let's get on to combat basics. Okay, so you may have noticed the combat's works a little bit differently in Guild Wars 2 compared to other MMOs. I've just shown you how to create or use the action camera, and as you can notice, I'm able to move and cast abilities at the same time. There are a few exceptions to that rule that do root you in place. For example, if I equip the Guardian Staff, just here, I'm not able to move whilst casting Empower there, which is skill 4. An easy way to go through your equipment is obviously to use your hero panel by pressing H. If you do that, it'll bring up this with all these bits. Here you just click equipment and you can select your weapons. If you click on that slot, as you can see, I've got all of my other stuff, so I don't have to go rooting through my bags. So we'll equip the Great Sword again, and then I will go through some of the skills that the Guardian uses, and they're kind of how they work. So skill 1 is almost always a chain skill. With the exception of the Elementalist. The Elementalist doesn't have chain skills because they have access to 4 different attunements. That means that they have more skills than any other class. They also are unable to have a second weapon set. You'll also find that you cannot rebind any of these skills. This little arrow here circling the skill means that it will auto attack using that skill. That can be changed. You just go to control right click basically, and then that is how you change that auto attack. So for whatever reason I want it to auto attack using Whirling Wrath, then that's how you do that. So as you can see here, it's got a few stats. You say you strike a foe, it does a little bit of damage. Does 3 targets, has a range of 130. 130 is basically melee range. And then the second attack, it will flip over and it will go to Vengeful Strike. And then once you've done that one, it will then go into Wrathful Strike. Wrathful Strike, as you can see, is slightly different because it applies might on the hit. Might gives you power and a little bit of condition damage, so it's very, very useful, and I will show you ways of stacking might through other classes, though it's not always easy to do on certain classes. For example, Phalanx Strength Warriors. So I'm going to quickly find something to go and whack, and I will see you in a second. So as you can see here, there's a mower. Keep an eye on this part here, and you will see it flip over through the different skills. So there's one, it's changed now to Vengeful Strike, and now it's Wrathful Strike. So that's basically how chain attacks work. They're almost always the skill 1. That could change, but as far as I know, that's the only way that they happen. So what about the rest of these skills? Well, the Guardian has Whirling Wrath, which is skill 2 on the Greatsword, which is a whirl finisher. You've got a leap finisher, which is a leap of faith, and then there is a symbol, which is a combo field. Skill 5 is it's also a whirl finisher, but it's not so great for demonstration purposes. So a lot of Guild Wars 2 combat is about comboing your attacks through other people's skills, and using them to great effect depending on the situation you're in. Most of the time you just end up blasting fire or water fields because they are the most useful, unless you play Thief, and then smoke fields are really good because they apply blinds as well as also granting stealth depending on the finishes you use. So as I've just said, this Whirling Wrath has a whirl finisher, and it needs to combat in a field. So if I lay a field down with 4 and then use Whirling Wrath, you'll see that cleansing bolts came up. That basically just means that you cleanse a condition every time you use that combo. There are different ones that you can use. For example, if I go into here and create a Ring of Fire, Johnny Cash, yeah boy, and then use that, it's now burning bolts because I'm currently in a burning field, a fire field, sorry. And the same again with leap. Now leaps are slightly different. Whirls tend to be highly aggressive due to their nature. Leaps, however, give you shields. So if, for example, I use the Symbol of Wrath and then use Leap of Faith, it gives me a shield. Now you can see there, this is a light aura, which means that you take slightly less condition damage, and you gain retaliation when people hit you, which basically means you reflect damage. Actually quite useful, especially if you're playing World versus World or something. Again, if I do it with a fire field, see here, and then leap through, I gain a fire shield, or fire aura. This basically means that foes burn, and you burn people when you attack for a short duration. Very handy, very nice. Got my trained Troy on a stick, yeah boy. So with the hammer, I get a blast finisher. And on my offhand here, I've got a scepter which can apply the field, like so. I'll swap to the hammer, blast it, and then that's area condition cleanse because it's a light field that I've just comboed through. So you can see here again, it's the same as Symbol of Wrath. It's a combo field light. I can demonstrate it again with Purging Flames because that creates the fire field, combo field fire, as you can see at the bottom. And we will blast Might. Very handy. Area Might, look at that, 3 Might for 21 seconds. That can be increased depending on your gear, but that's for another video. So we've got all of those skills. So there are a few other ones that you can get, and that would be projectile or physical projectile as a combo finisher, and that's also physical projectile combo finisher. If you have a projectile combo on an auto attack, which would be skill 1 here, there's only a 20% chance of that happening. However, if you use an actual skill with a cooldown, there is always a 100% chance of it happening. You can also see here it's got an extra couple of tooltips saying it pierces, basically means it just moves through foes, and yeah, there you go, number of targets of 5, which is pretty crazy actually, but the likelihood of you managing to hit 5 people with this attack is quite low. So what I'm going to do is use skill 4 on my longbow because I've swapped to Dragon Hunter, and I'm going to use these skills just to show you what that's like. So there's the light field, remove condition every time. Oh, missed it then, but you get the idea. Again, we can use the fire field and make fire arrows like so. Burning adds burning to your arrows. Very nice. Okay, so I've just shown you how useful fire fields are. I'm going to quickly do it again, just so you don't forget. There are classes that are much better at this than the Guardian is. For example, Phalanx Strength Warriors, Deadeye Thieves are pretty good now, as well as a variety of others. Elementalists as well are pretty good. Look up more in-depth class guides for those characters. Some are literally only there to grant might to everybody, which will stack 25 times. Anyway, so I'll just show you, put down a fire field, and then we'll blast in there, grab ourselves area might. Perfect. Another really handy one, mostly in World versus World. Engineers are really good at this as well, is by blasting water fields. So because I'm Firebrand, I can pick up my Atoma Resolve. Gives me these skills. Again, more in-depth class guide on each elite specialization, so you understand or follow me. But I will just quickly go through and show you that you can place a combo field water. Now these ones are really, really useful because water is healing. It applies all the same kind of stuff you would expect. But do I have a blast? That's the question. So I'll chuck down a water field, like so. Come out of that, and boom. Obviously I don't have any health missing, but that would have been quite a substantial heal. And then it goes on cooldown, which is not so great. So that's just like the fire and water fields, which the Guardian has access to. Light fields as well, which are they're okay. The only other really useful one, depending on what you're doing, is probably smoke fields, because being able to blast a smoke field from a thief will grant you stealth, or area stealth, and then if you leap through it, it will grant you stealth, and if you just pop it down on an enemy, they will be blinded, because they will have different effects depending on what is happening. I'll leave a link in the description. In fact, you'll be able to see it just on the screen right here. Is a big list of what combo fields there are, what types of finishes, and how they all interact with each other. It will also have on there all of the classes which have access to them all. Of course, it should also be noted that if you, for example, place a fire field, put light field, and then blast it, you'll get might. For some reason I got double the might then. Not entirely sure why that was, but I'll roll with it. Maybe it's because it was 2, but it will always take, if you use a finisher, it would always use the field that was placed down first. Always something to bear in mind, so you can't get trolls put stuff on top that you don't want. So another thing that I want to show you just before I go, of course I've also neglected to tell you that you can dodge roll. It makes you invulnerable. It's this skill bar here. You always get 2 evades once it ticks up. As you can see, it's slowly refilling there. You can also click this to dodge. Not everything can be blocked using that, and not every class has only 2. For example, the Daredevil Elite Specialization for the Thief has access to 3, which is pretty cool. That is also at the cost that the class itself is very squishy and easy to kill if those dodges aren't used correctly. So yeah, of course there's the health bar. You want to keep that up. I'm playing Guardian as a Berserker, so I have one of the lowest health pools in the game. And here you can see here I've clicked on the stone head. There's its health. I've got a percentage. There are third-party add-ons that you can get to show the exact amount of health, but I don't bother with those. Underneath you can see this blue bar here. This is called a Defiance Bar. I don't think I've got enough CC on this build to actually break that, but I'll give it a go. So yeah, it'd be easier to show you, but if you remember this skill here, the Whirl Finisher, this is a hard CC. Basically, I throw a bunch of swords with chains on, and then I use the skill again to pull everybody into me. Some things cannot be pulled. For example, this guy's got a break bar, so he can't be pulled. However, he will lose a percentage of that break bar, and if he loses all of it, he gets stunned, falls over, and then takes massive amounts of damage. Well, it allows you to do a lot more damage through that. So I will quickly demonstrate. I didn't sort out my build, so this is going to be interesting. Oh, there's a guy over here doing one. As you can see, the bar has dropped quite a bit. We're going to go in with that one. Yeah, not quite enough. I'll try and get in with some more of my tomes. Apparently not, though. Try and break that CC, come on. One more for the road? Nah, he died. Okay, well these rolling devils have one, as you can see. He's broken, he's fallen over, and now you can do loads of damage to him. Boom, there we go. Dead as a doorknob. So yeah, that's pretty much it for basics. You won't come across break bars until you're either doing world bosses or you've actually reached max level of 80 and you basically started endgame kind of farming. It was mostly in Heart of Thorns. Well, this feature was added in Heart of Thorns, but they did retroactively apply it to a lot of the old Corteria stuff. But I hope you found this video helpful and informative. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and possibly even subscribe to my channel. I'd love to hear your thoughts on if I've missed anything, which, well, it was only a basic guide anyway, so I have missed quite a bit, but we'll keep it simple, keep it quick. Anyway, thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!